Good morning, everyone. I will call upon Arceli to do roll call.
You're ready for you're gonna say, here's your mic. You're just gonna do by proxy, right? Andover A, absent. Andover B,
Present by proxy.
Andover E,
Present by proxy.
Andover F,
Present by proxy.
Andover G,
Present by proxy.
Andover I,
Present by proxy.
Bedford A, absent. Bedford B, absent. Bedford C,
Present by proxy.
Bedford D, absent. Bedford F,
Present by proxy.
Bedford H, absent. Bedford J, absent. Cambridge E, absent. Cambridge F, absent. Cambridge H, absent. Cambridge I, absent. Cambridge K,
Present by proxy.
Canton Court D, absent. Devonshire?
Present.
Okay, sorry. I forgot to check you. Okay. Dorchester B, absent. B.
Name?
You got it, yep. Dorchester D, absent. Fairborn,
Present by proxy.
Fairfield A,
Present by proxy.
Fairfield B,
Present by proxy.
Fairfield, oh, wait, sorry. Hold on. Fairfield H,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester B, absent. Gloucester C, absent. Gloucester D,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester E,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester G, absent. Gloucester J, absent. Gloucester L, absent. Gloucester N, absent. Highgate B,
Present by proxy.
Highgate E, absent. Highgate F, absent. Highgate 4,
Present by proxy.
Huntington, absent. Idlewood,
Present by proxy.
Inverness,
Present by proxy.
Knowles 1,
Present by proxy.
Knowles 2, absent. Knowles 3,
Present by proxy.
Lancaster 1,
Present by proxy.
Lancaster 3, absent. Lancaster 4, absent. Manchester 3, absent. Manchester 4, absent. Nantucket 1, absent. Nantucket 3, absent. Oxford 1. Thank you, Mike. Princeton, absent. Quail Pass, absent. Tremont 1,
Present by proxy.
Tremont 2,
Present by proxy.
Yorkshire, absent. Mr. President, you have 81 association represented with 4,145 unit with 75% representative. You have a quorum.
Thank you. With that, I'll call the meeting to order. It is 9:37. And would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, I'll take a motion from the floor to approve the January 20th minutes. Thank you, Donna. Can I have a second? Thank you. Jim. Any discussion? Is there any proxy no votes?
No.
There is no proxy no votes. Is there any objection to approving the minutes unanimously? Seeing no objection, we will consider the minutes approved unanimously. That'll take us to the management reports, and I will call upon Steve. You want to do yours first? We'll leave the spry young man till last.
That's you, Matt. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everybody today. I'd like to start off by recognizing our First Service staff who are here today in attendance, and thank you so much for all you do every day, not only for us, for myself and the company, but for the community. We just went through a long month and a half worth of annual meetings, and I think our team shined really well. So please stand if you're First Service. Yeah, don't forget. And Maureen Connolly, our Vice President, and Keith Wilking, our Keith, what are you now? Our Regional Director is here. Oh, that's right.
Would you remind Arceli that she is a First Service staff member?
Yes, Arceli as well. So, on to the report. We have conducted nearly 113 association annual meetings. I would like to welcome all the new board members and officers, and a reminder that Webb Melton from Bush Ross will be here to present a very informative, state-required board certification workshop this coming Wednesday, the 22nd, with registration at 9 and a light breakfast provided by our friends at Vesta and sponsored by our First Service office. Program will begin at 9:30 here in the Veterans Theater. Please sign up through your CAM if you haven't already, if you would like to attend. The annual meeting and election process for the Federation Board is underway. There are 5 districts up for election, districts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Candidate nomination forms are due back to our office by 5 o'clock today, the 17th. From there, candidate certification will happen February 22nd. The second notice and ballot mailing is March 9th, with ballots to be returned no later than March 27th, and election results announced at the annual meeting on Friday, March 31st. A reminder that the county's solid waste facilities for those associations on the FCC bulk contract are available only under the conditions noted by the county on their multifamily information sheet. When going to a landfill, please bring your ID and a copy of your property tax bill. The multifamily sheet is posted on kpscc.com homepage in both English and Spanish, and is also available in our lobby. The insurance replacement value appraisals for all condo associations have been finalized. The increase to insurable building values compared to 2020, which was the last appraisal, is a 33% increase for most associations. So that's good for your resales, but not real good for the cost of having to insure them. Statistics we'll put up on the screen. Fantastic. Transfers for the month of January were 35. That's down 18 from January of last year. These are all comps to last year. Leases were up 6. We processed 55 fewer emergency contact forms, conducted 5 fewer orientations, and there are a lot less pests in Kings Point, evidently, because there were 339 fewer pest control appointments. And we're talking about insects, not neighbors, friends, and family as our pests. Landscaping, the new landscape grading process is in the test phase for January, February, and March, and will go live in April. The landscape grading meeting for January was conducted. However, the scoring performance penalty will not be imposed against landscapers during the testing phase. Therefore, scoring sheet posting on kpscc.com will resume with the April grading. And that is my report. Thank you.
I would only make one comment. Steve, I'm glad to see you've loosened up and decided to do a little humor with your presentation. It's good to see. Now, if we can get rid of the sport coat, we'll be doing great. Steve, I'm not gonna let you go that easy. A few weeks ago, about 2 weeks, I had an opportunity to speak to the CEO of First Service, whose name is David Deisel, who resides in Miami, and I was discussing Steve, and I mentioned that Steve wore a sport coat to work, and he was probably the only person on the Kings Point property that has a sport coat. David Deisel sent an email to Steve because he said he would be visiting, and he ended the email is, "I will see you sometime in March with the appropriate sport coat." So Steve, being the person he is, and the Federation Board has picked on Steve to lighten him up a little. Steve sent back to David Deisel, "I look forward to seeing you with your sport coat on sometime in the month of March." So with that, Matt, I will turn it over to you. I know this is your second report. And thank you for all you have been doing lately. I appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. So I am joined by my supervisor, my boss, Ginger Anzalone, who is the regional president over in the corner. And for those of you that were here last month, I did receive $14 after the meeting to never dance again.
That was
Sold.
on the table.
Also, I will no longer be jumping off tables. So let's get this started. So this report is for January, and those New Year's resolutions came out. So over at the 2020 gym, we had 19 orientations. So those are folks that are interested in getting back in the swing or just starting a fitness program. Those are complimentary, so please reach out to the 2020 Center if you're interested. 9,300 visits plus the South Club gym visits, so a total of about 11,000 visits. You can see the water class attendance and the increased participation over year. So it's just fantastic that the fitness programming continues to grow. Speaking of continues to grow, the next slide is salon and spa usage. The $31,000 in revenue produced was actually a record month for the spa and salon, so it's something to be very proud of. Apparently, people feel the need to look good. Again, speaking of increases, food and beverage, speaking of feeling the need, people want to drink in Kings Point. Over $200,000 in sales at the South Club, which is phenomenal performance. The team down there is feeling the impacts of season. The great news for that is there's a 20% increase favorable to budget. And again, to reiterate, if there is any positive cash flows, they do come back to the community's bottom line to offset future assessments. They do not go to Vesta. They do not go to the staff unless you tip them. This does not go to us as the management company. So I just want to continue to reiterate that because I continue to field questions on that. Guest passes. The number of guest passes has actually remained flat to increased a bit. That continues to show us that folks are interested in bringing their family and loved ones into the community. As we transition over to the projects, the South Club Pool Deck Expansion Project, the framing of the Tiki Bar structure has been completed. The interior electrical and plumbing is underway. New windows and doors will be installed in the coming weeks. The concrete installation in front of the new bar and surrounding areas has been completed. The next concrete pour will be scheduled in the coming weeks for the area behind the cabana. New fencing and gates will be installed in the coming weeks. That is also one of our vendors calling to let us know they're running late. So the other components of this phase, the structures, appliances, pool furniture, placement, landscaping, have all been ordered so we can lock in pricing. The South Club game room floor replacement will include installation of new floors and baseboards, which is actually very badly needed. During this project, a room will be closed and we'll coordinate with groups. The main clubhouse outdoor pool shade structure replacement, the outdoor pool has been ordered and that will be installed in the next coming weeks. The South Social Room renovation project, that will be upcoming and we'll reach out to clubs and groups. The ladies' locker room update, the Friday the 13th fun. Insurance claim has been filed and the site inspection has been completed. The bathroom portion of the ladies' locker room is reopened for resident usage, which is new information from the last time we reported, and the repair planning is in process for the shower portion. The studio and northwest hallway will remain closed until further notice. The main clubhouse renovation project, which is inclusive of all that, we've had to stop the tile work as some work gets done in the nearby areas. Oh, this is a fun one. South Club parking fun. Did you all know that people are passionate about parking? So when we redid the surface area at the South Club parking, one of the complaints historically had been that there weren't enough parking spots. So one of the ways to do this was to add more golf cart parking because we had a lot of golf carts that have been parking on the grass, damaged sprinklers, and have been parking in front of buildings, behind cars, and it had been a nonstop issue. So when it was restriped, there were extra spots added, including 4 handicap additional parking spots added. So now we have begun citing cars for parking in golf cart spots, and then citing golf carts for parking in car spots. There was a post on social media a couple weeks ago, strangely enough, while I was out having a beverage, and you quickly could see that there was the war between golf cart people and car people. They went at it tooth and nail. What I will tell you is this: we are continuing to modify and adjust and look at the situation. I did receive pictures last night. Again, every single golf cart spot was full. The distance from where most of you probably parked this morning from the main clubhouse parking lot to get into the theater is actually the same distance as if you walk from the pool area to Palm Court. It's changed, it feels different. So if folks weren't there early, they're gonna have to walk a bit further. It actually comes out to about 120 steps difference. So I did want to let everybody know that. I am also sensitive to the fact that we do have seniors with medical issues and challenges too. So we will continue to monitor it. We will continue to evaluate it. Again, I get my nightly picture of the parking lot emails, and we'll continue to work through it. So, special event information. This one's a little closer to the heart. For those of you that are not aware, March 29th, Moffitt Cancer Center will actually be bringing some big guns here. In fact, the CEO of Moffitt will be here amongst some other lead panelists, and they're going to be discussing a number of things, including the importance of screenings and Moffitt's role in coming to the South Shore community. They will actually be building 3 miles from here. In the meantime, I do plan on pressuring them to bring in some screenings inside Kings Point. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to be proactive. Following the panel discussion, they are going to be doing a concert for a cause. For those of you that have been here during COVID, we did a number of charity fundraisers for different causes. This one is actually led by the CEO of Moffitt and the Moffitt team. They have a band called the Remissions, so they will be here performing for us that day. So lots of good stuff that we're doing to unite the community. Speaking of concerts, we'll go to slide 12. The pop-up concert series, we have a number of shows coming up, March 30th, April 4th, April 7th. The reason I'm not reporting on any of the winter series shows is they are all sold out. So I'd love to be able to promote that, but unless you look at that board and are able to convert on somebody that can't make it, you're not gonna be able to go. But if you're bored, we also have other things coming. Casino night, the arts and crafts fair, the ballet. We will also be having a number of acts at the South Club, Nathan Allen, there's buffets, Strings and Pipes Celtic Band. I have been requested to wear a kilt. I will not. That costs more than $14. It's about 20. So if you're bored, that's gonna be your choice.
But I want to know if you're going to be making a guest
I knew you were
appearance for
gonna
the
comment.
ballet.
I didn't hear that. So special event information continues. For those of you that don't know, breakfast is served at the South Club from 8 to 11 on Thursday through Sunday. Kings Point Catering is now available, so if you're having a function or if your club is having a function up here at the North Clubhouse, we can try to continue that. The market continues, the produce market continues, the blood draws continue. On-spot dermatology, I think they're out there today. The pharmacy is going to be sending out some new things. For those of you that are not aware, the government will no longer pay for your COVID tests after May 11th. So if you want to stock up on them, you're gonna be seeing some things coming up very soon. In fact, I've talked to a number of folks who actually have COVID right at this exact minute and aren't exactly doing great. So it's still with us, and we'll try to get you that information as soon as we can. Transportation, we're in season. They continue to transport folks to and from, to Publix, to Winn-Dixie, all around the community, especially to the private functions. Security continues to receive about 10,000 calls a month, a number of passes issued. The notables for security, I don't have anybody in a pond this month who was going to get their drone. I guess the main messages here are please, dress in light and bright colored clothing. At any time you're walking in the community, it will help. We have some folks that'll kind of spot you if you need a little bit of assistance. We also do get the occasional, hey, there's a knock on the door, there's a window company looking to sell me windows, how did they get in? 99.99% of the time they're servicing another resident and then they start soliciting business. So we appreciate your extra eyes and your phone calls to let the gate know because they are not supposed to be soliciting. That is the end of my report.
I'm not going to let you go that easy, sir. Last Wednesday, there was an RFEC meeting, and during the RFEC meeting, the third quarter financials were reported for the land trust. This doesn't include January, February, and March, which would be considered the fourth quarter, which would also contain all of the Winter Series shows, the expansion of La Perque, providing dinner. And Matt, you might want to tell them where we stand as far as budgeted, if you remember where we stand as how well we have done in the community from the budget perspective on that.
Year to date, off the top of my head, it's around $141,000 positive variance. We are proud of that. For those of you that do not know, the budgets are made about a year and a half in advance. So with inflation, with the expenditures from building maintenance, electricity bills, I'm sure you all are feeling those things, insurance costs, we are $141,000 to the positive, even incurring some of those costs. So again, that money does not go to Vesta. That goes back to help offset future assessments for you all. And again, as Jack mentioned, we think a great fourth quarter coming from a lot of the revenue generating areas. We have a very hardworking team behind the scenes. We've kind of modified operations and we'll continue to adapt and serve the community. I had a great compliment about dueling pianos that Scott put together prior to this meeting, and those things generate revenue, which also offsets assessments to you all in the future. So we are excited about our programming levels. We're excited about our services that we bring in, and we just continue to modify based on what you all want.
And for those of you who are interested in a extremely boring presentation, but one that provides the good news on how well Vesta is performing. When Matt says $147,000, $143,000, that is pure profit over what we budgeted and what we are expending. And we would expect that to figure to reach probably close to $300,000 by the end of the fourth quarter. And that solely will go back into your pockets when we do the budget for the following year, which would be a year from now. But I cannot say enough to Vesta for the programs, the food ideas, the new menu at La Perque, the shows that they have brought that for the first time in the history of Kings Point are basically sold out. These are all different things that Vesta has brought in to raise money. The board challenged Vesta a couple years ago to figure out how to increase revenue, to improve the cost to the residents by being able to use that increased revenue to lower monthly assessments. So I would like to thank Vesta for taking that challenge on and continuing to take that challenge going forward to raise additional revenues over what is budgeted. So thank you very much, Matt, and thank you for your staff. With that, we'll do committee reports, and I'm going to look all the way down the table. Is Ray or Dan? You're going to be talking anyway on.
Yeah, I have nothing other than the contract that's coming up in a bit.
So, Ray?
The insurance committee has been meeting and will be meeting again on March 1st and another date in March, I forgot which one. We were informed this week with some good news. And the good news is that Heritage, who provides us the property insurance, which is the primary or the largest single cost to us, will renew. We found that out about a week and a half ago. Heritage about a week ago, which is our property carrier, has announced that they will renew our insurance. So we will have property insurance. The evaluations are coming in, actually they're all in, and we're a little higher than what we had forecasted, but we don't know what the rate will be yet on the insurance costs, so we will be I hope we will be very close to the correct amount. That's it.
Thank you. Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you. I've been debating whether to move away, so in case any stray bullets come this way, that they don't hit me.
It's not that bad.
I didn't say it was good or bad.
Good morning, everyone. Since we have so many new association representatives starting after the annual meetings, I've tried to make this report as simple and as concise as possible. Like all associations in Kings Point, the Federation operates on a fiscal year basis that starts on April the 1st and ends on March the 31st. Next page. On this page, the YTD is for the 9-month period of the fiscal year. Budgeted assessments is the PUPM, which all of you knew are going to be hearing that a lot in the next year, which is per unit per month. That's how most of your budgets, all of budgets are based. And this fee is shown as what is shown currently on your individual current budgets, not the ones that are coming up and starting on April 1st. This is for the one you currently have. Prior year reflects carryover dollars from the previous fiscal year. Other receipts are the transfer fees and interest earned during the 9-month period. This is not budgeted since these can vary greatly during the fiscal year. Transfer fees are collected on sales and rental leases here in Kings Point. General operating expenditures are a minimal expense, as the numbers reflect. As noted, the $225 under contracts is a prior year carryover. And this shows the total expenditures for the general operating. Next page. This page shows the major fund reserves in the Federation budget. The landscape and grounds cleanup funds were approved by the membership last year to be used for hurricane debris cleanup, since they were restricted funds. Steve Knott and I have gone through the billing for the landscapers on this, and we have so far only been able to approve one payment as reflected by the $29,100 disbursement. We recently approved another corrected invoice for payment, and we are still waiting on one more corrected invoice. It's been a nightmare trying to get all this squared away. Again, since I was asked by a few owners, this does not reflect any payments to the landscapers due them under their normal monthly contract period. This is completely separate from that. So I want to make sure we're aware of that. The insurance deductible helps cover the deductible cost of the associations up to $4,500 for an insurance claim other than hurricane or storm damage. Thankfully, all of you have been very good about keeping any insurance claims at bay as reflected. We have a nice balance in there. The legal fund is set at $25,000 by law and is a reserved account that is maintained at that amount from year to year. Professional services is mainly legal fees. These reflect extensive legal work on the new contracts, which membership has been approving, and we have negotiated, and it also includes the work they're doing on our 2 lawsuits. Contract receipts reflect both the chargeback from one of the landscapers, which was earlier in the fiscal year, and the monies from the canceled OLM contract. Next one is community promotion, which has been a nightmare. I'm going to be honest. Community promotion reflects a $4,923 credit, and this is again due to the ongoing problem with our website contractor with settling up an electronic payment with us. For some reason, the gentleman has not wanted to get paid without setting something up, and we can't do it for him. So that's why we have this credit. We have billing. We've tried to pay him, but we can't pay him because he won't set up an electronic contract. As far as I know, this has been resolved. And I know we have another question about a website. Questions. I understand there is the Suncoast site is, we have problems. I'm trying to get it resolved, but I can't do it until I get in touch with this gentleman, who for some reason doesn't want to return my phone calls right now. So we'll get it. We're going to get it worked out. Okay, and at the bottom, as shown, the total balance of the major fund reserves as of December the 31st is $423,912. And that's my report.
Thank you, Jim. Jim isn't joking. I don't talk to Jim that he doesn't complain to me about the website and the development of the new website and trying to get it turned up, and the Suncoast site getting transferred over to the new site. It is truly Jim's nightmare. He doesn't joke about it. It is the bane of his existence, and I think it's one thing he would like to get away from. And if you want to know, God rest his soul, Rick Massime is the one who started this, and Rick Massime passed away quite some time ago, a couple years ago. this thing has been going on for a couple of years. So, Jim, I appreciate the efforts that you put into that website. And I know I was hoping to maybe be done by the time I was off the board, but I doubt it will be done if you're running for reelection and you're elected. I hope it's done by the time you're off the board for good. It's just going on and on and on. I do have 3 individuals that signed up for open forum. One truly wants to speak during good and welfare. Dan, do you want to wait until we discuss the management contract? Okay. And the third person that signed up is Peggy from Devonshire, but you didn't give a reason. Could you raise your hand, Peggy? So you want me to remove you from? Okay. Then with that, we will move to the new business, and I will turn it over to Dan to review the first service contract for the property management.
Yes. Most of our contracts are for 3 years. However, every 6 years, we are required for any contract that's been in place for 6 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. At the end of that 6-year period, any contract has to go out with a request for proposals into the community. The Contracts Committee and Federation Legal Counsel created an RFP, request for proposal, for our management company. The RFP was sent out to 9 different management firms. In the state, these reflected on the screen are those companies that we felt had an opportunity to provide this community with the type of information and management that it needed. There are a lot of companies that do management. There are very few who can work at the complexity that we have in Kings Point. We are a small city. Excuse me. So it's important that you get the proper type of management to take care of us and all of the things that we have to be done. As I say, RFPs went out to those 9 companies. They were invited to attend an on-site meeting and a site inspection, which was conducted by the Contract Committee. 3 firms attended that, First Service Residential, KW Property Management, and Leland Management. Questions were asked and entertained during the meeting, and then there was a tour of the property so everybody could see what they were getting into, what we do and how we do it. We only received 1 response to the request for proposal, and that was from First Service Residential. At our management meeting for the board, someone asked why we only received 1 response. I did not know at that time. I've made inquiries, but we haven't received any responses from the companies who did not submit an RFP of yet. I'm hoping to get some answers from those people in the next little bit, and when we do, that will be made public so everyone will have a better understanding of why only First Service Residential submitted their RFP. Because they were the only ones, we made great strides in being sure that they did not know they were the only ones. And we negotiated accordingly. And in doing that, we had some changes to the contract. Our insurance, we wanted to take a close look at. The insurance has been updated, clarified in the document, and there are more protections for the Federation now. Our indemnification clause has changed considerably over the last contract. The clause is now changed to indemnify the Federation for negligence or material breach of contract by the agent, and to exclude negligence or willful acts of the agents from the Federation's indemnification of the agent. In the past contract, we had to indemnify First Service no matter what. They were our agent, and they did work on our behalf, and if they made a mistake, we would have to cover them. In this contract, if they make a mistake or there's negligence on their part that is not directed by the Federation, they are on their own to take care of it, and we don't have to take care of them. If they make those mistakes, then we are covered by their unwillful acts so that we get indemnified for their errors. Next point was management of staff details. We require 15 full-time, 40-hour employees that are dedicated on-site to Kings Point, and there's one full-time employee that works remotely. He's an accountant, and he does a lot of the budget work. He is based in St. Petersburg. The other big change in the contract is for property observations. We now require on a quarterly basis that the CAM go to each association, observe the association, write a report of what they observed, and provide it to the association. The association can then determine what it is they wish to do with their observations of that report. If there are problems, the association can determine how that problem needs to be addressed. The CAM will not address those problems. They will only make them known to the association so that they can do what they feel is appropriate. If they don't do that report within 30 days, the Federation can cause an independent inspection to be performed at FSR's expense. And the final thing for the contract, which is not insignificant, is that it was budgeted at $30 per door in the budget per month. It was negotiated down to $27 per unit per month. That is a savings of $198,900 a year, or $596,700 over the life of the contract. The contract will increase year over year, basically 82 cents per house per month for the next year, and then the last year of the contract, another 83 cents per month. And that's all I have right now. Steve Nod has done a lot of work on the CAM's visits and observations to the association on the quarterly basis, and Steve will talk to us about what he's developed for his staff to manage this process. Steve?
Thank you, Dan. Just wanted to give everyone a look in on a sample. This is just an example of what a property observation form could look like for an average association. Essentially, this is a one-pager, and it just wouldn't fit on the slide, so I had to break it into 2 pages. It's essentially 10 questions, and they're pretty high level. We would look at common areas, look at your building exteriors, look at your substrates, and just make our observations on those, not recommendations, we're not engineers, but we do feel like it's important for us when we see something to go ahead and note it on the report, give it to the board, or however the board would like it delivered to them is something that we can work out individually with each association. And then the board can take that and use it for whatever purpose that they want to use it for. So that would be what the observation form could possibly look like. It's not a blanket form. It can be modified depending on the need of each association. The capability for photography and pictures to be put in it is also there. So the inspection schedule is something that I think is very important that we all know. It's going to be quarterly, and this is a sample for one of our CAMs. We do have a CAM whose name is Pink Panther, who will be doing these observations. And the associations you can see in the first quarter highlighted, April. Those are the associations that could have their observation report done in April. And we keep that same pattern for the most part. So if it's the first week of, first month of a quarter, it would be the same for the second quarter, third quarter. The only difference we run into is when we get to the fourth quarter, and you see January, there really aren't any observations going on. And the reason for that is, I think you all can surmise, we are conducting annual meetings at that point in time. I don't want, and no, I don't think anyone wants the CAMs to lose focus away from the business of your annual meeting and your elections to go out and inspect your and observe what's going on in your properties. They will still be done in that quarter. They're just slid out to later in February and in March. So that's just a little look into. We thought it was important to let you know that we are thinking ahead on this, trying to get an observation report sample to show you and the schedule of how your property observations would look.
Steve, your property observations, which you have up there now, that will be published to the association, so they are aware what month they would be during a quarter receiving their inspection, so they would know whether to be expecting a observation sheet?
Yes, so that's why we've done it this way, so we can go ahead and plan it's basically our year for the CAMs, and you can plan your year and know approximately the month that we're going to be there. And we do have the ability to pull that month forward or push it out a little bit depending on how things are. But we wouldn't do that without the consent of the association.
Okay, and the only other question, if you go back to your previous page.
And while he's doing that, I'd like to point out, excuse me, that this observation does not include landscaping. That's done separately by your landscape specialists.
On your observation sheet, because it's hard to see because you made it lighter, is for your 1, 2, 3, 4, for the different observations, it is expected that the CAM will make notes, because it says click or tap here to enter text.
Correct. That's
so
where
they will be making notes of what that observation is. Right. So if they, and I'm going to look at number 4, where it says, was visible cracking and or damaged rotted surfaces observed. If they would put yes, then they would tell you where they observed that particular damage.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the first service contract. Thank you, Jim. I have a second. Thank you, Dan. We'll go into discussion, and Dan, you have the mic, seeing you signed up. Pardon? Any other comments, discussions, concerns? That was just an example. That's all it was. And unfortunately, Vesta has the Pink Panther, which is sitting at the head table. But we really don't have a CAM at First Service named Pink Panther either, so. Don't scowl, Matt.
Okay, Mike Bardell, Oxford One president. It has been said the best way to predict future behavior is to look at the past. We noticed observations here that are on the new contract, but the truth is inspections have been in the contract that we've been under for the last 2.5 years. I am unaware of any association that has been inspected in this past 2.5-year period. Also, First Service is required to try and get back badges when a homeowner leaves our property or it's sold. But in all the reports of transfers, leases, and everything else, I've never seen how many badges that First Service have turned over to Vesta for destruction and taken off the list. Maybe that's why we have so many people that have moved out of here are still using our facilities and using our roads and those facilities. First Service seems to make decisions on what the board can see or not see on the records. Even in the state statute says that the records belong to the associations. You are merely the caretaker of those records. So we should be able to see everything on there, and the associations need those records, and you do not have the privilege of removing that information. Contact information is association property. Financial news doesn't get better with time. And if people are in arrears, the board needs to know. Many times we are not told till 60 or 90 days that people are in arrears. We should know immediately when somebody doesn't pay. And that is not happening. And we need to take appropriate action on it. In my extensive business career in my life, you never were able to keep a job for not performing your job, let alone get a 60% increase. Although the board is projecting that we're getting a savings, I'm telling you that it's a 60% increase over what we're currently paying. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Brookfield, President. I'm curious, when you do the observations every quarter, are you just doing the front as they drive around, or will you actually be driving behind the units?
So safety and for our cams is important, and we will try to look at sides, and if we are made aware of any issues in the back, we'll look at them. We are going to be walking associations and making primary observations, as stated here, from what we're going to call solid substrate surfaces, so flat, your concrete.
So basically just the front,
Yeah.
then?
Now
Okay.
our landscape supervisors are, in landscape crews are in your backyards, not that they're going to look and report anything, but and if they're POCs in the association that can see things that may be particularly safety issues, we would include those as well.
It is, just for your information, it is noted in the contract that observations are to be made from solid surfaces. The driveways, the sidewalks, you mentioned them driving around. There is really an obligation in this contract because it says they will make their observations from driveways and sidewalks, that just driving through the community is not an observation. We have informed First Service that we expect their cams basically to get out of their car, and that's why you see some of the observations. You can't see cracks in walls, especially if you have courtyards. Within the courtyard, if you're only driving by, and the courtyard basically has a small walkway opening. So it's one of the things that we negotiated when we were discussing observations, that they actually get out of their car. Steve is right, it does preclude them from having to walk on sod only for their safety and our liability. But driving really is not going to be considered a true observation.
Hi, Cindy Clays, president of Nantucket 4. We have had situations where the landscapers have gone through and cut down hedges, etc., and stepped on, smashed, and closed up downspouts. It has been reported, and our POCs have had to go try to open it up themselves. My concern is this ongoing situation. If it gets too badly mushed up, who's going to pay for damage?
It is the landscaper's responsibility to repair any damage made. It's a landscape contract, not in the first service contract. So that's who would pay for it. Your POC should put in a work order. The work order is referred to the landscape contractor, and it is tracked, and the landscape contractor is penalized for not doing the work, but they would repair it at their expense.
Okay, well, we've had several in the last year and had no response. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Then with that, I will call the question. It's a, what? You have to do root call, you have to do.
Acadia. Acadia 2. Andover C. Andover D. Andover H. Andover E. Andover G. Andover G. Yeah, hold on. Can we start all over again? Steve, can we start all over? Just submit the proxy too, right? Okay. So let's do the Acadia. I do it right there, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, so Acadia, let's do it again. I'm sorry. Can I do it, Mr. Jack? Sorry. Okay. Acadia. Okay. Acadia 2. Andover B.
Yes, by proxy.
Andover C. Andover D. I was going to say put no in there. Because no one answers, not no. Andover C, no one's there. Andover D, it's absent. Yeah. And then Andover E is, yes, by proxy. Andover F.
Yes, by proxy.
Andover G.
Yes, by proxy.
Andover H. Andover, I.
Yes, by proxy.
Andover, C. Bedford, C. Yes, by Bedford. Yeah, Bedford, C. Oh. I put, yeah. Bedford, C. Yes,
Yes,
by
by
proxy. Bedford, E. Bedford, F.
Yes, by proxy.
Bedford, G. Brookfield. Cambridge, A. Cambridge, B. Cambridge, C. Cambridge, J. Cambridge, K.
Yes, by proxy.
Cambridge, L. Is that a yes? Yeah. Cambridge, M. Corinth. Devonshire.
Yes.
Dorchester, A. Dorchester, B. Dorchester, C. Edinburgh. Fairborn.
Yes, by proxy.
Fairfield, A.
Yes, by proxy.
Fairfield, B.
Yes, by proxy.
Fairfield, C. Fairfield, D. Fairfield, E. Thank you. Fairfield, F. Fairfield, G. Fairfield, H.
Yes, by proxy.
Gloucester, A. Gloucester, D.
Yes, by proxy.
Gloucester, E.
Yes, by proxy.
Gloucester, F. Gloucester, H. Gloucester, K. Gloucester, M. Gloucester, P. Grantham. Highgate, A. Highgate, B.
Yes, by proxy.
Highgate, C. Highgate, D. Highgate, 2. Highgate, 4.
Yes, by proxy.
Idlewood.
Yes, by proxy.
Inverness.
Yes, by proxy.
Jameson. Kensington. Knowles 1.
Yes, by proxy.
Knowles 3.
Yes, by proxy.
Lancaster 1.
Yes, by proxy.
Lancaster 2. Lyndhurst, Manchester 1, Manchester 2, Maplewood, Nantucket 2, Nantucket 4, Nantucket 5, Oakley Green, Oxford 1, Oxford 2, Fort Smith, Radisson 1, Radisson 2, Richmond, Somerset, Southampton 1, Southampton 2, Tremont 1,
Yes by proxy.
Tremont 2,
Yes by proxy.
Villeroy, Worthington, they're here, but they didn't, yeah, they left. It's Andover C's here, because they check in now. Andover D? Okay. Mr. President, you have count yes of 3,571 count with 87.2%, with 73 association, with no with 434 count, with 10.6% with 5 association, and 1 association abstain with 92 count.
Thank you. Then the first service contract has been approved. With no other new business, I will open it up to good and welfare. And I was going to say, where did Margaret go to?
My name is Margaret Rogers. I'm from Cambridge B. You've heard the saying, see something, say something. Well, I'm going to. There is a problem in Kings Point that should concern all residents. This problem was previously reported at the July 1st, 2022 board meeting. My association has a renter currently who creates disturbances and is harassing the women residents. He also is an unstable driver as he drives up on the grass to his front door to unload his car and has indented and scratched our carport posts. There have been numerous reports filed with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office by my residents and other association residents. I personally have filed several reports myself. This person definitely has mental health issues, and I have observed over the last few months that he is becoming more agitated quickly, and I personally feel he is very unstable, and I am concerned about what he is capable of doing as the news constantly reports on the violence caused by those with mental issues. The most recent encounter I had was on Sunday, February 5th, in this North Clubhouse, just down the hall in one of the activity rooms. He was pounding on the tables and being verbally abusive to me and my friend who was there setting up for an activity. We called security, and it was taken care of. On this Wednesday, February 15th, he stopped my friend who was visiting me while she was out for a walk. I cannot publicly say his name, but after this meeting, I will be glad to share this information with anyone who would like it. He has a lease with us until October of this year. The only way we can prevent this person from renting in Kings Point in the future is to inform all the associations of his name and ask that they do not approve the request for his leasing in the future. He came to us from another association here in Kings Point. He is currently my roommate, and I am very concerned for my safety and the safety of those in Kings Point. I even had a locksmith come and change the locks on my house. Please see me after the meeting to obtain this information if you have rentals in your association and do not want this type of rental.
Margaret, I assume you have talked to Officer Mary, correct? And what is the sheriff's department, if you don't mind giving us? Here.
The response I got back from the sheriff said that his family does not want to take responsibility for him. And the sheriff is trying to get enough reports gathered. That's why I have filed several to get, I think it's called the Baker Act or something, to try to get this situation resolved. In the meantime, you just have to watch out and look, and that's all we can do at this time, but I have talked to him.
I appreciate you making the community aware of it, and I will see that it is included, because generally things such as this are not included within the minutes, but I will see this is included within the minutes, that it was raised not by, I won't have your name, but it was raised regarding a resident in your association, that there is a problem, and if people need to contact First Service, will have your name, and they can contact First Service to have further conversations with you.
Right, as I said, I can't publicly, but I'll be.
No, I understand, but
privately I will.
we will see that it is noted within the minutes for you,
Right.
regarding this individual.
And I have talked to the head of security here, Pete, or whatever his name
Yep.
is, too. And as I said, it was reported in the July board meeting. I was there. And it was done by the lady from Princeton.
But I appreciate you bringing it to the members' attention. Thank you. Any other comments, concerns, good and welfare announcements? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.